I think this video was like my biggest video of 2024, so I cannot wait to get messy with you guys once again. Hello everyone, it's Belle. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, and if you've come back, thank you so much. Welcome to Bookmas day number 5. Thank you all so much for joining me once again. Today I am doing a video that, as I said in our little intro there, I did last year for a bit of fun, but it low-key popped off. If you want to go check that out, I'll link it in the description box. You guys loved it. You had a lot of fun with it, so I thought as a little Bookmas treat, I would do it again and include it in the 12 days of Christmas. But what I did this time around and what we're going to focus on is I actually asked you guys over on my Instagram stories to tell me things that you want to leave in 2025 that are bookish related, things that just really annoy you, that tick you off about the bookish community, about bookish influencers and content creators as well. Like I said, we get messy on this channel. I'm not afraid to get messy, and I love that you guys aren't either. So I am going to go and open up my Instagram responses. I have not looked at these since I put that story up, so this is going to be my like live reactions to some of the things you guys are saying, also to see if I like low-key agree with some of the things that you want to leave in 2025. So I literally cannot wait. So without further ado, you guys know the drill. Let's get comfy, let's get cozy, and let's get right on into this video. Okay, good. There is quite a few on here, so I'm very excited. I don't even know where to start, y'all. I literally don't. Let's just go from the bottom and work our way to the top. There are a couple that I low-key want to quickly mention of things that I want to leave in 2025, but if they don't get mentioned before the end of the video, I'll put them at the end of the video. I'm very, very, very excited. So first up, literally first response that I got was spoilers. I was actually going to mention this one as my like big overarching one that I think we really need to leave in 2025. When I say spoilers, if a book has been out for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Yes, spoilers are of course going to start trickling through, you know, on your social media platforms, what have you. The issue that I am having with spoilers in particular this year, it's not only happening from bookish creators now, because at the beginning of the year, you guys know, I had Sunrise on the Reaping spoiled for me literally 2 days after it came out. And even like, this is so random and it's such a weird tangent, but like the new Wicked movie, right? I couldn't see it because I was in the middle of doing a weekend of shows for Oklahoma. I've seen the Broadway show, but I didn't want the movie like spoiled. And when I tell you, why are the actors literally posting spoiler photos 2-3 days after the movie came out? People have lives, people have jobs, people have babies and families. Like, not everybody can go and read a book on release day, can finish a book on release day or what have you, or go watch a film. This is the problem that I'm having. And it's like people will literally post like quotes or like take photos of their page and annotations and stuff like that. I guarantee if the roles were reversed and you couldn't read a book on release day, if somebody spoiled a quote for you or literally anything about the book, you would be absolutely furious. So why do you want to go and spoil somebody else's reading experience? The biggest thing that I have in terms of spoilers with like social media influencers is that yes, get on the hype train whilst it is there. I understand, especially when it's a very highly anticipated release, I can understand why you want to constantly post about the book, but there are ways to post about the book discreetly that will not ruin another person's reading experience. That's the problem that I have with spoilers. It drives me crazy. Like I said, if a book has been out for a couple of months, couple of years, 10 years, of course spoilers are going to be a thing, but I'm talking about spoilers quite literally in the fresh days, under a week of the book being out, under a month of the book being out. You know what I'm saying? Someone has said the cheating trope. Honestly, literally, I actually would love to ask if any of your authors, please sound off in the comments. I would love to know what the appeal is of writing the cheating trope, because especially if it's happening with like the main couple, to me, and this is my personal morals, if a man cheated on me, I would never get back together with him, because not only is the trust going to be broken for the rest of your life, you're always going to be second guessing and thinking about what that person is doing at all times. You won't trust them. But B, what's to stop them from doing it again? If they did it once, why would they never do it again? Do you know what I'm saying? There are so many reasons why I don't condone the cheating trope. So I don't like when like beautiful books like Love and Other Words and things like that are ruined by the cheating trope, because there are other ways to create a conflict or third act breakup or what have you that don't revolve around this trope. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see the appeal. And I know everybody loves Magnolia Parks and they're like, well, I'm like, no, it's still a cheating trope. It's still Still the cheating tropes. So literally don't even come for me. You know what I mean? Don't even come for me. This person has said a lot, but I love the first thing that they've said. They said rushing authors, petty female main characters, and overhyping books because of smut. Not everything needs it. So many good points in there. The first one I want to talk about is rushing authors. What I've said so many times in my videos now that I would be happy, and I know I complain about Burn of the Everflame all the time. I'm like, where is Burn of the Everflame? I would be happy to wait another year, 2 years, 3 years for that book to be properly cooked, marinated, and, you know, seared to perfection before I read it, because I would hate to get that book because it's been rushed and not have it be the ending that the author wants, but also, you know, wants the ending of the book to be received by readers. You know what I'm saying? You know, think about Rebecca Yarros with Iron Flame, how she was under so much pressure to get that book out so fast that it wasn't that great because, of course, there's not enough time and love given to it on the editing floor. I have a show tonight, guys, if you couldn't tell by the clown makeup, so I'm like trying to warm up my voice whilst I'm talking to you guys right now. It really needs to stop. Like, I don't understand. I understand the publishing company and like high demand. There are so many authors that will just write very quickly, very naturally, like Morgan Elizabeth, Anna Huang, Elsie Silver now is writing quite quickly as well. There are authors who will pump out books, and that's one side of things. That's completely different. I feel like this is when it's a sequel, like an anticipated sequel, when people are rushing the author, like that's when you're gonna complain when the book comes out and it's terrible. You know what I mean? The other one that I want to talk about that this person wrote is overhyping books because of smut. It needs to stop. It actually needs to stop. And like, look, I'm gonna put my hand up because yes, when I first started my BookTok account 2 years ago, of course I was saying read this book because it's spicy, or like spicy books that work, right? But like, I don't think you should sell a book like read this only because it's spicy. Does that make sense? Like, I will recommend a book saying like these are some of the spiciest books I've ever read, because some people like to know like spice level and stuff like that. But what I think this person is referring to, and like what I think is the problem, is like when you are talking about something like ACOTAR, which is behind me, and people saying it is the spiciest romantasy, like it's literally like fairy spice and smut and all this stuff. And I'm like, no offense, I have read so much more hardcore spicy stuff. You're actually taking away from a beautiful fantasy world by degrading it by saying it's spicy fairy smut. Do you know what I mean? That's what I think the problem is. You're trying to overhype a book saying it's the spiciest fantasy thing you've ever read, when there's such minimal spice in this series. It is not a joke, because the romance, by the way, and the fantasy elements are the leading factors of this series, is the draw card. That's what you should be paying attention to, not the spice. This is the problem. We need to stop. We need to stop, because not everything needs spice. But also sometimes recommending a spicy book when it's not spicy, like saying something is spicy when it's not spicy, can have the opposite effect, because some people get turned off spice. Some people don't want to read spice, right? Some people might miss out on reading a really great fantasy, a really great romance, because they're like, oh, I don't like spicy stuff. Recommend things appropriately. Hype things appropriately. That's what I'm gonna say. I've got a lot for like judging people for what they read, shaming romance readers, bullying others for when their opinions, like when you don't agree. A lot of people, and it happens on the internet, because you know what they always used to say to you when you were in school, like about cyberbullying, and they'd say, if you would never say this to somebody to their face, why would you post it online? And that is what happens with these online trolls, right? Not just only as a creator, like I see stuff every day, but also I just see stuff on other people's TikTok videos, Instagram reels, Instagram photos, where people are just so brutal and so mean because they're keyboard warriors and they're able to hide behind the phone, hide behind the tablet, hide behind the laptop. Like, for starters, if people are shaming you for this, that, and the other, first of all, remember that they would never say that to your face. Unless they're like your best friend, they would never say that to your face because they have the confidence to do it behind a screen. Sounds very bizarre. Basically me saying, don't take it personally, don't take it to heart when people start carrying on. Because when I see it in my comments now, I'm like, okay, have your rant, Karen. Like, I literally don't care. But it does need to stop, because you know, you might love eggs and I might hate eggs. I don't, I love eggs, but you know what I mean? Everybody has different tastes, and this is why I always say reading is so subjective, right? Like, everybody likes different things, has different tastes, has different morals, has different triggers, like so many different things that make up who we are as human beings, that of course, if I love Haunting Adeline and you don't, there's a reason. There's something in that story that worked for me and didn't work for you, and I think we as people have to respect that. Of course, you can say like, oh, like, what do you mean? But then be like, okay, like, I respect you. I see what you're saying. Why are we so mean to each other? That's my problem. Just agree to disagree respectfully. This one's so good. Not counting audiobooks as reading. I feel like I talked about this one last year, potentially. And I know there are a few interpretations as to what this actually means, okay? So some people will say that audiobooks, or like listening to audiobooks, is not actually reading because you are not reading words, right? You catch my drift, you catch the wording. People will say that audiobooks are not reading because you're not physically reading lines, okay? However, I am of the firmest opinion that audiobooks are reading because you are consuming a novel, right? You are consuming a novel audibly in the same way that someone would physically consume that, right? And I talked about this last year when I said, if you think about people who actually do have certain disabilities, who may not be able to read a physical book, they are still reading by listening to an audiobook. So the fact that people literally shame and hate on people and say that if you listen to audiobooks, you're not a reader, that is a massive problem because you are also being derogatory towards certain groups of people who might not be able to actually read books physically. So again, in the same strand, bullying needs to stop. Okay, bullying seriously needs to stop. Oh, this is such a good one. Books being copy paste. My God, Mac, I'm sorry, I'm calling out your name. Normally I keep these anonymous, but you are spitting facts. This needs to stay in 2025. I feel like this year, and I'm going to talk about this at the end of the year when I do my wrap up, this year of all my reading years has been the biggest year for me realizing how copy paste, rinse and repeat the publishing industry has become. I have noticed a massive increase in the traditionally published books following the same mold, the same tropes, the same structure. And I'm actually so sick of it because as somebody who consumes so many books a year, I feel like I'm reading the same books on a different canvas. Like, does that make sense? The biggest example that I'm going to use is ice hockey romance books because yes, it's a popular side of romance, right? Of contemporary romance. I understand why it works. Sports romance is fun. Sports players are sexy, what have you, okay? It is a great subgenre within the romance genre, right? But my problem is, if I see one more ice hockey, fake dating, reverse grumpy sunshine ice hockey book where they're in college or blah, 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 I'm going to start biting people because I'm so sick of it, you guys. It's like, I think it's this thing of like all the publishing houses are going, yes, these books sell, let's just keep buying the same thing. And it's like, no, nobody wants to buy the same thing. I mean, look, each to their own. If you want to keep reading an ice hockey book over and over and over again, keep going. I'm sorry, I have to recommend it because the best ice hockey book that I have read this year was Breaking Point by Mads Rafferty. Ice hockey, reverse grumpy sunshine, fake dating, right? The same mold that I was complaining about in the traditionally published industry. This book is indie published and it's phenomenal. Do you know why? It has a point of difference. If you read the book, you'll understand the point of difference because this book is following along with what people enjoy, but it like expands upon it tenfold. This is the type of book that should be published. If publishing houses are gonna, keep publishing ice hockey books, find books that have a point of difference so that readers don't get bored. This one is really interesting because I have an interesting take on this as well. This person would like to leave people hating on prologues and epilogues in 2025. I can see the vision. I totally get it. I guess for me, it's sort of like, I love a prologue and I love an epilogue when it's needed. I think it's circumstantial. Again, just to ramp on about sports romances, I think the reason I don't love epilogues in every single book is when you have these two college kids all of a sudden married and have babies, I'm like, you've just ruined their whole life. That's why sometimes we don't need an epilogue, but we don't need to hate on people for liking them. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God, this one's so good. This one's so good. Somebody said saying it won't fit in literally every book the first time. Literally. I'm sorry. I don't know why authors are literally in a chokehold over this line. It sends me into an orbit every single time. Okay, I understand you want to write a male main character who's big, who's well endowed. I get it. Okay, there are other ways to do this without saying it won't fit or we'll make it fit. It's had its time in the sun. I think it was fun in 2022. It's no longer 2022. We need to think of some other ways to say that you got a big package. You know what I mean? But this is hilarious. This is the funniest one so far. We need to be more creative because I'm telling you now, I mean, look, please correct me if I'm wrong. I have never ever had that happen in my real life. I just don't think it's at all sexy to say it won't fit when you're getting down and dirty. To me, I think that would be a mood killer. This one's so interesting, and I think I talked about this one in a different vein last year. Someone has said they want to leave book scene audios on TikTok. I find them so cringe. I'm so sorry. They want to leave them in 2025. Last year, I said that graphic audios have been used as spoilers on TikTok, and that was my problem. But I can totally agree with this person here, and it should stay in 2025 because, and like guys, some audiobooks respectfully have the worst narrators, and like people using them to advertise the book, and I'm like, it's bad, it's cringy, it's not a vibe, you know what I mean? So we can leave that in 2025. Oh, someone has said book covers changing to movie/show adaptation. No one wants the new cover. This is so interesting. I was going to talk about my second little gripe that I've had with 2025, and it's like all these new versions of books being released when there's literally no bonus content. You know what I mean? I'm looking at you, Akatar Black Knight Court editions. Why are you being released other than the fact that you are a money grab? Movie tie-in covers, TV tie-in covers are money grabs, okay? It's the same thing, because especially if something, look, I'll be the first person to admit it, okay? Because I'm a massive fan of Bridgerton, I hate myself, and I will be buying every single television show tie-in cover, even though I already have 2 other versions of these books, because I'm a fan. And that's why these new covers are a money grab and they work. However, they are so unnecessary, it is ridiculous, okay? Consumerism, like, I can't. I agree that I think we need to stop every single time a book gets turned into a film or a TV show. Stop changing the covers. A, it's ugly. B, it stops people from getting the original cover. And C, nobody wants them. Except for, okay, like, and look, and here's my other thing. TV show tie-in covers are so ugly. Some of them are so ugly. I'm like, I can tell you've wasted money doing this. But when I see this, I'm like, this makes me happy because this is pretty. This is beautiful. They've put some thought into that. Whereas again, I just got the new Housemaid tie-in cover and I'm like, that is the ugliest effing skirt I've ever seen. I'm sorry. It's ugly. Bestie Char at Page Savers Co. We do love her. She has said she wants to leave grumpy MMCs that aren't actually grumpy and are actually just personalityless in 2025. I agree. Stop writing male main characters who are just mean, right? There is being a grump and then there is being mean. And I can't, if I ever read a book and I find that a male main character is mean, I'm immediately put off and there is no turning back. There's no coming back from that. Like, there's such a fine line with the grumpy sunshine trope. You can be quiet, reserved, morally grey without being a douchebag. So that also needs to stay in 2025. Oh my God. Char has said another great one. She wants to leave audiobooks that aren't duet narration in 2025. Literally preach it to the choir, guys. I don't know what it is. Now that I've listened to probably like 6 or 7 duet audiobooks, I cannot go back. When I start a romance audiobook and the man is saying the girl lines now, I literally feel my skin crawling. Like, it is not cute. Look, I understand that that has only become very popular in the last year or so, but every single romance book, fantasy book, what have you, like, it needs to be duet narration. The audio listening experience and the immersive experience that you get listening to a duet audiobook is unmatched. It feels like you are literally, like, you can see it in your head. Like, that happens with audiobooks anyways, but it just elevates an audiobook tenfold. I agree. Like, next year is the year of duet only. I'm sorry. Oh, great one. Sprayed edges. Not every book needs one, especially if it's just a solid color. Again, money grab, another conversation. This needs to stop. These sprayed edges need to stop, okay? Like, there are a few exceptions. If it is actually like a beautiful design, fair. Like, I've got the version of Collide here that has like Summer and Aiden sprayed onto it. That's pretty, right? If you are literally releasing a book with like red sprayed edges, black sprayed edges, blue sprayed, why? You're wasting ink, you're wasting money, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. The only people that are buying sprayed edge edition books are people who want a special edition because they've loved the book so much. Guys, y'all have some really good ones in here. Also, I'm laughing so hard because about 16 of you have said my reading slump. That's what you want to leave in 2025. Girl, same. My God. Somebody has said the miscommunication trope, it is the worst. I literally feel like this is like punishable worse than the cheating trope. Miscommunication shows immaturity in your characters to me. The fact that like you can't write mature enough characters. If you're writing a YA book and it's set in high school, I understand why miscommunication is in there because because they're not fully developed yet. Of course, there's room for miscommunication. If you are writing a book about mid-20s, 30s, even I sometimes have read some books about 40-year-olds where they are having miscommunication. I'm like, oh, so you are still a child. You don't know how to communicate, and that's a problem. And again, it falls into that thing of like the author to me doesn't seem like they know how to write a conflict or, you know, third act problem without having an easy fallout, which is the miscommunication trope. There are books that I will literally bump up ratings if the confrontation has healthy communication and is revolving something else, because there are other ways to have that third act problem arise without it being miscommunication. It drives me nuts. And most of the times you can literally see it happening from the very beginning of the book. And when that happens, I'm like immediately demoting points because it is awful. Oh my God, this is such a good one. Rating books highly because of what other people rated them. If a book is bad, it is bad. Preach it to the choir, sister. This needs to stop happening. Peer pressure needs to stop happening. I swear, and it happens with book influencers all the time, people are just like rating books really highly. I'm gonna get cancelled for saying this, but like I know so many, even like some of my close friends who read and review books, who will give books 5 stars because they've been sent an early copy or an ARC, and I'm like, I'm sorry. And like some of them I'll read as well, and I'm like, that book was not 5 stars. Like I understand that you want to stay on the PR team's good side and what have you, but like do not rate a book highly because you've been sent it or because it's a popular release. You need to be honest. And I feel like for me, when I watch, you know, book reviewers and book creators, I actually gravitate towards the ones who do have a differing opinion or are honest, because that to me shows that they're being real. They're not just trying to make money. They're not just trying to stay on the good side of publishing houses and all this stuff. If a book is bad, say that it's bad. Don't just rate it 5 stars because you've been sent it or because it's a popular release. Like there are so many books that I have been sent this year that I've DNF'd, that I've given really low ratings, even though I was so hyped for them, because I know that you guys also rely on me to be honest. Because imagine I tell you to go and buy a book and rate it 5 stars, and you go buy that book and it's awful. A, you've wasted your money, and B, you've lost trust in me, and I've lost trust. You know, we've lost this relationship we've been building over the last year or so. You know what I mean? It's just not right. A lot of you have also said cartoon covers on adult books that you want to leave behind. I actually disagree with this one, only because I just think that the style of them are so cute. I just really love cutesy things. If it's a cartoon cover and the book is like an emotional romance, that's a problem because it's misleading. But if it's just a cheesy, fluffy rom-com with a little bit of spice, a cartoon cover is okay for me. You know what I'm saying? People said fake stickers. If I, in the year of 2026, see another book get published with a fake sticker smacked onto the top, I am going to be on the news, okay? It is going to drive me insane. It happened on, I think the first one was like the Love Hypothesis. No, Love on the Brain. I don't know if you guys can see that up there. After obviously the Love Hypothesis was so successful, when Love on the Brain came out, what did they do? They smacked a big fat author of the Love Hypothesis on the front that you can't get rid of. It's so ugly. You're also ruining the work of the artist who has designed that cover. You're spoiling that work by slapping something ugly on that nobody wants, by the way. I can't stand it. It needs to be put in the bin. There's one person who's just gone ham. They put so many in here. Tall paperback books. This is so interesting to me because I kind of get it. Here's how I personally feel about this. I think that romance books should be in your traditional published size. So your standard traditional publishing size. However, I feel like romanticies, there's just, to me, there is something more epic about having a tall paperback when you read a fantasy. Also, because the books tend to be quite big, in a tall size paperback, the words are bigger. So there's something in my brain that goes, this is easier for me to read, which is really silly and probably makes me sound like I'm 13 years old. But you know what? It is fine. I get what you're saying, because if I read a romance book in this size, I'd probably be turned off. I think it's just the aura. This is giving romantasy. This is giving romance. The size. Maybe I sound delulu. Just let me know. Oh, this is such a good one. And I think I've spoken about it a few times. Tagging authors in bad reviews. Some people have way too much audacity. I agree. I think it is so rude and disrespectful to personally go out of your way, and again, it goes back to those keyboard warriors and the bullying, to tag an author in a book review that is lower than 4 stars. Or even like, honestly, I would never tag an author in a review lower than 5 stars. That's my personal opinion, because imagine somebody spends a year, 2 years, 3 years working their butt off creating a book that they've put blood, sweat, and tears into, and they've finally released this book and they are hoping that everybody loves it as much as they love it. I know if it were me, if I saw somebody even give it 4 stars, I'd go, oh, why didn't they give it 5 stars? So like the fact that people are going out of their way to purposely tag authors in reviews that are bad, that are 4 stars, 3.5, 3, 2, 1, it is disgraceful. It's so disrespectful. And like if you are an author and you put all that time and energy into a book, there's no way that you would be okay with somebody tagging you in a negative review like that. So why do you do it? Like, I feel like some people think that they want their feedback to be seen. As I said, one of my really close friends in real life is an author, and there have been many times where she literally gets emails from people saying there are grammar errors in your book, there is this, that, and the other, like you should change this, you should change this. The book's been published for like a year, 6 months. It's not going to happen. So I don't know why these people get off on sending their feedback. Nothing's going to change, so stop doing it. You're hurting these people's feelings, and B, like, it's stroking your ego. But at the end of the day, how good can you really feel about saying what you've said? You know what I mean? I'm gonna stop there because otherwise I'll be here for 35,000 years. But I am so obsessed with what you guys said this year. I love it. Let's wrap it up, pack it up, and leave it in 2025. Alright everyone, that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for sticking through all the way to the end if you did. I really, really appreciate it. Please excuse the plane. It has been going overhead for a long time. A big thank you to all of you again who submitted a response over on my Instagram. I have so much fun doing these videos and getting you guys involved and hearing your takes. It's honestly so validating to see that you guys feel the same like about these things. Like sometimes I can feel like so isolated in my opinion, so it's nice to know that like I'm not alone, and hopefully you guys feel the same way. As always, if you guys aren't already, you're more than welcome to follow me on my socials. I'll leave my handles on the screen and in the description box. And if you'd like to, you can like this video and subscribe to my channel, and make sure that you are hitting that notification bell, that way you're notified each time a brand new video goes up. Thank you guys so much for stopping by again. I really, really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe for Bookmas day number 6. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a lovely day or a lovely night, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye!